I have the power. You ready?
Okay, we're ready.
AB 1690, please.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. Pleased to present AB 1690, which seeks to establish employment stability for part-time faculty at California community colleges. California community colleges comprise the largest system of higher education in the country and serve millions of California students. The majority of these students are taught by part-time faculty. And I would say the community colleges could not exist without part-time faculty. One of the greatest concerns for part-time faculty is job stability. The inability to negotiate reemployment policies at most community college districts has resulted in unreliable reemployment practices. We need to define minimum standards for the treatment of part-time faculty while allowing districts the flexibility to address their needs. Such standards will help retain a diverse and qualified pool of faculty. AB 1690 takes steps in this direction by providing basic standards for part-time faculty while also providing stability for the success of California students. With me, I have Jennifer Baker from the California Teachers Association, Jill Rice from the California Federation of Teachers, and John Gavoski of Cabrillo Colleges. Thank you for being here.
Please start.
Good afternoon. Jennifer Baker with the California Teachers Association. Almost 30 years ago in 1988, the legislature had passed AB 1725, which had created a faculty requirement of increasing the overall ratio of full-time to part-time faculty at 75 to 25%. While the community college system has yet to receive this goal due to fiscal constraints, we believe that we can take a step forward towards achieving greater faculty stability by improving the overall working conditions for the vast amount of part-time faculty members. AB 1690 will provide the necessary security for part-time faculty members to achieve minimum working conditions, which will lead to a more stable overall environment. By providing minimum standards, these part-time faculty members will have a greater stability in their working environment. AB 1690 will have a direct impact on student success, additionally, by ensuring that students have greater access to the faculty and will ensure they continue to receive quality services and instruction. The working standards created by this measure can easily be integrated into the current bargaining process and can be integrated into the regular negotiation process. By strengthening the security of those who are providing direct instruction to students, we can achieve greater student success by supporting those faculty members who provide direct services to our community college students. We urge your support on AB 1690. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, Jill Rice again with the California Federation of Teachers. We've chosen to have, as the co-sponsor along with CTA, one of our own part-time and members at Cabrillo College, John Gofsky, speak to you about his personal experiences on this bill.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak here. My name is John Gofsky. I am the co-chair of the part-time faculty committee of the California Federation of Teachers. I have taught as a part-timer, what I call myself a permatemp. I have taught for 20 years as a contingent faculty member at Cabrillo College. During that time, I have won teaching awards. I served on all kinds of committees. I've done a really good job, and yet, after 20 years of teaching with stellar evaluations, I could lose a significant portion of my income at any moment if I say the wrong thing, if I rub the department chair the wrong way, if I speak out on an issue that I feel strongly about that involves my students. I mean, part-time faculty have no real academic freedom because they have no real job security. This bill would be a really good thing for a lot of faculty in the system. The instability that results from the current system is terrible for both the faculty as employees and for the students. I can't tell you how many times I have not spoken out because I felt that I could endanger a future assignment on things that I really should have spoken out on. Lately, I've become more outspoken because I've just got that kind of attitude, but many part-time faculty do not have the ability to speak out on matters of academic importance because they know that they would be replaced by somebody else off the street, a new hire, even if they've been teaching with great evaluations for many, many years. So it's a bit of a frustrating situation. It's extremely difficult to locally negotiate some strong things in contracts for most of us. The system has a patchwork of clauses and different contracts, most of which are extremely weak or non-existent on job security. And it's just one of those things that we need to address, given that the system is now overwhelmingly majority part-time faculty. I don't think the system was ever set up to be this way, yet the institutional framework is not matching the facts on the ground. The institutional framework seems to believe that everybody's full-time tenured faculty, and that's simply not the case. So we need to inject a little more stability into the system, and I'm really thankful for this bill, and I hope that you can support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support? If you would like to come forward and state your name and position, please.
Deborah Shanks. I am a part-time faculty member, 30 years at Diablo Valley College, and I'm here in support representing the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges and the Community College Independents. This bill would bring a great deal of stability as well as attract and retain better faculty, and we strongly urge a yes vote.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support?
David Bala-Hawkins with the Community College Independents.
I don't think that's on.
David Bala-Hawkins with the Community College Independents in support. Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Smith, professor of mathematics at Santiago Canyon College down in Orange, California. And we're one of the independent unions that does not have faculty rights built in, part-time faculty rights and adjunct faculty rights built into our contract. And I just wanted to add, as a result, I've had 7 of my former students now become or apply to be math teachers at the community college level. Only one of them got a full-time job. The others quit before they could continue, either because they didn't have employment rights and they found out that our pay is so underwhelming for our part-timers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amy Hines-Scheich. I'm a mom, and I'm with the University Professional and Technical Employees, UWA Local 9119 in strong support.
Thank you.
My name is Ilsa Mimas. I'm president of the California Community College Association of Student Trustees. And on students' behalf and for our faculty as well, we stand in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any witnesses in opposition? We might make some room at if that's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice Chair. My name is Ryan McElhaney, and I am with the Community College League of California, representing California's 72 community college districts. We are here in opposition to this measure because if districts and collective bargaining units decide that the provisions contained within AB 1690 would benefit students, they're free to implement those provisions, and 30 have done so. Our community college system is large and diverse. Our 72 districts face a different mix of student needs, funding priorities, and community goals. What works at Marin College may not work at Santa Monica College. Thus, we think locally elected trustee boards and collective bargaining units are the best actors to decide on what is in a collective bargaining unit and what meets the best needs of their students. The league is very sympathetic to the plight of part-time faculty members. They work long hours for low pay and benefits and do not have very good job security. But we would argue that that's because we have systematically underfunded our community college system, and therefore we've supported measures that would improve working conditions for part-time faculty members, such as funding for full-time faculty, part-time office hours, and other measures. So we are opposed to this measure, but we do look forward to work with the author and the sponsors of this measure on other bill ideas or other budget items that will improve the working conditions of part-time faculty members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members, thank you. Ashley Situde with Nossaman on behalf of the North Orange County Community College District. Respectfully opposing your bill this morning or this afternoon. First, I want to just state that we greatly appreciate our part-time faculty. We have 1,500 part-time faculty at our district. They really are the backbone of our district and our system, so we greatly appreciate where the bill is coming from. However, we are opposing the bill because the bill could actually limit diversity, we believe. Recent reports from the Chancellor's Office actually show that as a system, we're not meeting our diversity goals for full-time or part-time faculty. And so if part-time faculty members are given immediate seniority rights, this may not allow for the system to continue to grow and promote diversity through the hiring process. In addition, we do echo the comments of the Community College League of California regarding current law does require the subject of earning and retaining annual reappointment rights to the subject of mandatory bargaining. So we'd like to retain our local control on that and working with local bargaining units. Finally, the bill is definitely going to impose additional costs on our district. As I mentioned, we had 1,500 part-time faculty members, and we have no way of tracking a seniority list at this time, so we would definitely need to develop and maintain some sort of seniority list for 1,500 part-time faculty members. So we do have cost concerns as well. One last thing, the bill also prohibits the immediate release of poor performing faculty, which we think could compromise student success as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in opposition. Turning to members of the committee, any questions? Mr. Chairman, would you like to, oh, excuse me, Member Olson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you explain to me, how does the process work today for part-time faculty? Does the main faculty union have to have representation from part-time faculty at the bargaining table? Are they completely absent from bargaining? How does that work today?
And it could vary. I'll do an overview, and I think I have an expert that can also talk. But there are some bargaining units that are comprised of both full and part-time faculty members. So in that case, they would work on behalf of all faculty members. There are some districts that have local bargaining units that are represented merely with part-time faculty, and there's a separate bargaining unit for full-time faculty.
Okay.
Yeah, the majority of units in California would be wall-to-wall, which represent both full and part-time, although there are adjunct only and full-time only units as well. I would say typically part-time representation is very low. The bargaining in my school, it varies. It varies quite a bit. In our school, it's a little better, mostly because I have really pushed. But in many cases, there may be one or no part-time faculty members on the negotiating team, and it's very also because the full-time faculty tend to dominate the power structures of the local units. And I'm speaking as a union person here, but let's face it, it's hard to have power when you're so disempowered at the local level when you part-time faculty do not feel the ability to speak out on a lot of issues, in part relating to their lack of job security. So no one wants to be seen as a troublemaker. And it's pretty difficult to get adequate representation at the local level. I would say that for the most part, the representation is token, and it's not that powerful at the local level to be able to get your voice heard. You just can't do it.
Okay. And do you know what maybe this would be a better question for the league, I'm not sure, but do you know what, on average, the percentage of part-time faculty is on a community college campus today versus full-time? I'm sure it varies, but is there a rough?
By statute, it's supposed to be.
By the statute's goal is 75%, but the actual goal, I believe, is hovering around or below 60%.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can 56.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly, the last opposition speaker mentioned, my understanding is that the purpose of the bill is really to set apart part-time faculty so they can have their own representation at the bargaining table. But the last speaker mentioned no. Okay, then maybe I have faulty information. But so if you could speak to what the last opposition speaker mentioned, which was that the bill would prohibit the release of part-time faculty. Can you explain that? It seems to me that would be something that would be bargained and negotiated at the table with the particular community college district, as opposed to prescribed in this bill. So if you could speak a little bit to that and why that's included.
So the release, like letting go of a part-time.
Right.
Well, the bill definitely says that that in creating a seniority list, it would only be those part-time faculty who have been through the last three semesters of positive evaluation, and those would be the ones that would be included, and certainly does not speak to keeping any part-time faculty who have not had 3 consecutive positive evaluations. So I don't think that's correct.
Okay.
If you want me to address the issue of the part-time, I don't know, there's some confusion around the part-time negotiating or the part-time bargaining representation. That's just kind of the phrase we use. And as Mr. Gofsky mentioned, a lot of the units here in California are wall-to-wall, meaning the exclusive representation of the part-time faculty is whatever the local union is. So it's not asking to create a new part-time unit or bargaining unit. If, however, there is a distinction within a particular district, then that is the unit they'll work with. So it's already one or the other, as is existing. It's not looking to create a new division or mandate a new creation of a new part-time unit, bargaining unit.
Okay, thank you.
And as we've had additional conversations about the evaluation process, it was discovered that there were multiple districts that were not evaluating their part-time faculty at all. And so we have since found over the course of discussions that this has happened in numerous settings. So there was an assumption that there would be additional cost in relation to evaluating part-time faculty where, in fact, existing statute that's been on the books for a number of years has already required that the faculty members should be evaluated, and it actually must be evaluated. So that's something that is already supposed to be in practice, and while there are some districts that haven't done that, those costs should not be subsumed into discussions of the measure, and those activities, administrative, et cetera, those are activities and actions that already should have taken place at the local level, just as part of normal evaluating faculty in general.
Thank you. Member Weber.
Yes, I want to see if I'm understanding this correctly, because there are a lot of pieces to this, and I think this kind of mirrors the CSU's part-time agreement. I'm not sure. This document is saying that after a person who's working part-time has served consecutively for a number of semesters, 6 or 7 or 8, whatever, 6 semesters or 9 quarters. So once they've done basically 3 years of consistent service, that they're guaranteed in some sense the same, at least the same workload for the next couple of years. They get the same contract, basically same workload. There wouldn't be a reduction in their workload unless there's a reduction in work that's available. And so as a result of that consecutive, then they would do that. There would be ongoing evaluation. Now, I'm not sure when. I know at the university, at San Diego State, or at the CSU, basically after a period of time that happens, then you have folks who have served that 3 years or 3 years in this case. Then they're considered like permanent part-time to a certain extent. They're guaranteed, if there's work to be done, they're guaranteed to have access to that work first if it's within their area of expertise. And then I think how that agreement lasts for like 3 years, or I'm not sure whether this identifies how long it lasts. I know at the university it lasts for 3 years, and then at the end of 3 years, if there's been consecutive involvement, then it's renewed again. So is that what we're getting at here? Because I know that happens at the CSU for part-time employees, for part-time workers.
And it's, I would say it's a little bit of an apples to oranges, but overall, what you're describing at the CSU system, it's very similar.
Okay.
But the overall length at the time is something that would be within the realm of collective bargaining. So if the locals want to decide this could be a 1-year process or a 3-year, then they're able to make that determination for whatever they believe is going to be appropriate for that local.
Okay. And the system works fairly well, I think, at the CSUs. I mean, given I used to have to do this as chair of the department with all of my part-time faculty in terms of after a period of time they'd get permanent, what we consider permanent part-time status. I think ours was for 3 years period, and I'd have to do annual evaluations. At the end of that 3 years, they could then be renewed for another 3 years of permanent status. Could not reduce their load unless they the whole curriculum changed or something, and we didn't need them anymore. So it's not like you're locked in forever. It's not like you can bankrupt the system financially, because if things change differently, I think it mentions in here, there's so long as there's always an exit clause in terms of need for institutions and so forth and so on. But it creates a much more stable working environment. Now, I know that at the CSU, it did wonders for our part-time faculty. They became much more engaged in what we were doing on campus, working with students, because they knew that the institution had a commitment to them as well, so that those who had served and served well for 3, 4, 5 years, who'd never had anything other than a semester-to-semester contract, now had an agreement that if all things remaining equal in terms of workload and those kinds of things, that they would at least get an opportunity to continue their contract. And it does provide a lot more stability for us, for our part-time employees at the CSU. And they would always look to us first to make sure that they covered our classes first, because many of them, you will work in several different places if you're part-time. But if you know that this institution has guaranteed you 40% workload or 50% or whatever it may of a full-time workload, you're going to protect that relationship much more than somebody who only gives you semester-to-semester experience. So I know I'd mentioned to the community colleges some while ago, you guys need to try to do this, and I know it's complicated because you have all these little individual districts, and you don't have a major chancellor like we have that really directs what happens system-wide for individuals, but this is a good step. So I congratulate my colleague for moving in this direction, and I think it will help significantly in terms of at least valuing our part-time employees, but not really making it so they can never be terminated, they can't be turned out, they can't be left. But it does say if you've been doing a good job and you've been doing it for 3 straight years, you have the opportunity to then have a similar contract. If all things being equal in terms of workload. If you've been teaching our students and you've been doing a great job, if we're continuing down the road, we need to look at you folks first, and you're the ones who will continue. We'll guarantee you will have your workload as you've had before, the 60%, 40%, whatever it is. But there is ongoing evaluation, and there's opportunity to change that workload if the workload experience changes and there's an economic downturn. If I'm correct. Thank you.
Mr. Chavez.
I'd like to thank the member Weber for bringing that in. I didn't know all that. But I want to, and I guess ask you guys, but maybe she probably knows the answer. The CSU percentage between part-time and members of the staff, we had that 75-25. I guess we're at 56-44 average across the system. What would the CSU, what percent do they have, full-time to part-time?
It's changed over the years, but it's almost like a 60-40. It's entirely too high. And I know there's been a push to increase the number of full-time faculty, because it becomes very difficult when you have an awful lot of part-time faculty and you're trying to provide a consistent curriculum for students, as you probably know, across the board, and you're constantly changing the faculty that's there. And due to economic issues, we went for a lot more part-time faculty than we should have at the CSU. But now we're in the process of rebuilding. I know in one of our bills recently we gave additional funds to try to increase the number of full-time faculty because it stabilizes the institution, and it allows you also to attract faculty to the campus who will contribute to the campus, not only in terms of teaching classes, mentoring students, but helping with the administration of the campus as well.
I think that's a good point. You're swaying me over. I have another question. The CSUs have a different mission than the community colleges. The community colleges, we had a hearing earlier today in Budget Sub 2 talking about the funding of community colleges. And in simplistic terms, what they said was there was 3 components: the transfer students to going on to a 4-year college, students who are there for CTE or to get a certificate, and the adult education component, depending on the consortium, depending on the district. Some of them don't do it, some of them do it. But as far as adult education, English language learning, citizenship, all those important things that community colleges have done in the past, since they have a different mission, especially I guess in CTE, allowing people from outside industry to come in to teach a unique skill, does that percentage hold the same, or is there, how do you meet that requirement? Because if you had a new rapid changing issue, let's say laboratory sciences, which wasn't there before, and you had to bring people in, how would that work? And maybe I could have the community college get up here since you guys, I'm going to grill you a little bit more. So,
Mr. Chavez, if I could.
Sure. I hope he answers it too.
Okay. I'd like to answer your question.
Please, please.
So first, let me say that I was a community college trustee for 13 years at Riverside Community College. That's a good amount of time being a local trustee. And second, I was a part-time instructor at 3 different community colleges. And it's certainly something that, as chair of higher education, I'm interested in. This past week, I met with folks in my district, including people from the California Community College Chancellor's Office, who were talking to me about being able to provide technology instructors, technology in a field that is quickly changing, and that perhaps those people who are going to be most qualified to teach those classes are not the usual people who come out of academics, who come out of 4-year colleges and, may not have a degree. So I would say that, as it has been in the past, when we talk about fields like welding or refrigeration, we've seen different kinds of instructors. And certainly we need to be able to change quickly and be able to attract them. And I would look for measures to do that, to make that easier and quicker, especially as we talk about technology. But given that, I think those are different kinds of instructors from what we've seen generally. And I think this bill is aimed at those part-time instructors that we have seen traditionally, just to answer your question.
I agree, and it's they need to be fluid. I look back at my father when he was going to El Camino Junior College in the 50s. They gave a class on circuit boards and how to television repair and electronic welding, which allowed him to get a job. I mean, I don't think no one does that anymore. But that's what community colleges did then with World War II veterans to get them jobs. So you need to have that flexibility to meet the needs, which is totally different than get somebody ready to transfer to UCLA to get a degree in English to become a lawyer. Those are different activities. So to the community college, how does this bill that we have here help or hinder you to meet those 3 buckets that I mentioned about the mission of the community colleges?
We would say it hinders. As you were talking about, our mission is diverse compared to other systems of higher education. We prepare students to transfer, do career technical education, adult education, and other means of educating the community. And I think that speaks to the complexity of what is contained in these collective bargaining units. Again, each district will offer a different mix of those 3 and other types of education, and they should really have a collective bargaining agreement with their faculty that empowers them. And it just speaks to the difficulty of setting these types of agreements at the statewide level.
I'm wondering, though, why does the community college keep such a high percentage of faculty members who are temporary, or why? Part-time? Why?
My colleague from the CTA alluded to this a little bit earlier, but we have a goal of reaching 75% of our instruction taught by full-time faculty, and we're nowhere near that. And that's because that goal was set with the idea that our funding would rise to a level where we could economically offer that amount of full-time instruction, and we just can't. We don't have the funding for it. I think everyone in the system, everyone at this table agrees that we need to do a better job in supporting our faculty members. It's just that we don't have the funds for it.
But you recognize in today's hearing, have funded community colleges at the highest level we've ever done. I mean, we're talking, tens of millions of dollars on how we're going to be assigning the requirements, to community colleges to meet those 3 buckets I just talked about.
Certainly in the last few years, we have had significant increases in Proposition 98, and we are grateful. However, if you look at our pure per pupil funding, we're still the lowest funded system of education in California. We receive significantly less than University of California, less than the California State University, and less than K-12, just a little bit less. So it's extremely challenging for us to offer the quality of education that that California deserves, and our districts therefore have to turn to part-timers and depend on part-time faculty pool to make sure all Californians have access to community colleges.
May I further?
Can I make one important issue?
I'll let you get on right when I'm done.
Correction. Just on this issue.
Doss,
sure.
I'm running it. I got it.
Sure.
I'll call you in a minute. I just want to follow up question what he said. The other point is I wanted to bring up. I visited a community college in my district that has a very robust training program, and the gentleman who runs it is actually a part of the staff there. He's not a part-time. So there are some really neat leaders out there that I was talking to him. He was leading the effort out there and bringing different businesses in. So I don't want to let anybody think that CTE is strictly non-tenured people. They're actually people that have been there many years. Doss, what would you like to say?
Well, I wanted to point out that the community college, assessing the community college funding level is not quite as dismal of a picture as I think was just made. The community college has been restored to pre-recession levels, which is not enough, but it is a lot more of an improvement, say, than compared to what we have done at CSUs and UCs, which are still operating at lower general funds than they were in 2007. And, of course, we are asking them to enroll more in-state students for that amount of money. Though, to be fair to them, a lot of the increases that we've given them in the last few years, we have asked to be on student success, on academic counseling, on some of the other things to try to increase four-year completion rates. And I will say that it's pretty obvious that the practice is to save money. And even with that caveat, I think the point is well taken that this policy mechanism will help, but to really reach the goal would take a substantial bump in funding.
Okay, I appreciate that, but just bring back some information details. From the presentation we had today, we at the state last year had funded with a 2% growth in the community colleges. This current budget coming through is looking at a 3% growth, but last year coming through, we didn't have a 2% growth. I think it was 1.3. So we're not growing to the level we had. And in the hearings today, a direct question is asked, are the community colleges actually meeting the needs? Because why the privates and nonprofits are providing some of these different skills. So I've often wondered why, when I go visit at community colleges, why so many of them are part-time. And I have a couple of my friends that actually have been doing it for over 20 years. And I listen to what they're doing. They do it because of the love of it, because clearly look at the money they're getting. They're not getting anything. So I'm intrigued by the Assemblymember Weber's comments. I always kind of lean to her because she's actually been there. So I'll keep my mind open. I think I just got taken away. You're up.
Any further comments, questions, Ms. Weber?
Yeah, just quickly, Mr. Chavez raised a question about changing focus and old strategies and new strategies, and how do you respond to that in terms of flexibility. I think, like most institutions, and I think written in this document too, it talks about the need for courses, and when the need goes away, that becomes a justification for the decrease in faculty allocations. And that has happened. I've had that happen in my own area when I was chair of a department, that when there was no longer a need for as many courses as before, I had then the authority to reduce the workload of a part-time faculty because the need was gone. And so that gives, and many times campuses do like part-time faculty because of that flexibility. You don't have the same flexibility with a tenured professor. If I had a tenured professor and his area of expertise kind of faded away, I had to figure out what I was going to do with this person and use them in another way. Didn't have the same challenge with my part-time faculty, even though they had this kind of permanent status, because written into all these part-time contracts and written in this document too is based on need for those kinds of things. And to me, to get rid of a tenured faculty, it'd have to be some declaration of layoff and all that other kind of stuff that's totally different than what you're talking about here. So the flexibility is there, and that's why some campuses like part-time faculty because of the flexibility it provides. It also doesn't, you don't pay the same salary for part-time faculty as you do for others. It's a percentage salary. At the community college, it's an hourly salary. At the university, we do a percentage, but at the community colleges, they do an hourly rate is what happens, and so it's considerably less than a full-time faculty.
Thank you. Any further questions from committee members? Mr. Chairman, would you like to close?
Thank you, Ms. Baker. A couple of statements before. I want to echo Mr. Williams' remark. This morning, we heard and talked about UC relying on out-of-state students to close the budget gap. Certainly, we've seen here in the Higher Ed Committee many bills to encourage community colleges to go in the direction of adding full-time faculty, because I think we're all in agreement that the higher the ratio of full-time faculty, the better the job will be because of delivery to students in community college. I think we're all in agreement on that. But like UC has relied on out-of-state students, community college has relied on part-time faculty to keep the doors open, to keep the students enrolled. Therefore, facing part-time, realizing that part-time faculty face many challenges, I think this bill is a step in the right direction to help and value part-time faculty. Someone in opposition brought out the issue of diversity. I will tell you from firsthand experience, it is easier to get elected to the California legislature than it is to get a full-time position in California community colleges.
Yes.
Easier to get elected. Part-time faculty reflects the diversity of our students. I wish that we were doing a better job with the full-time faculty on diversity. So again, I think that on diversity issues, this bill will help, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we need a motion.
Move approval.
Second. Moved by Ms. Weber, second by Mr. Lowe. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Medina?
Aye.
Medina, aye. Baker?
No.
Baker, no. Bloom? Bloom, aye. Chavez? Chavez not voting. Irwin? Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer? Levine? Levine, aye. Linder? Linder, no. Lowe? Lowe, aye. Olson? Olson, aye. Santiago? Weber?
Aye.
Weber, aye. Williams? Williams, aye.
8-2. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman. And I think we can also take a motion on the consent calendar. The items on consent, item number 4.
Move the bill.
Moved by Mr. Linder, second and third by Mr. Williams. Ms. Olson. Please call the roll.
Medina?
Aye.
Medina, aye. Baker? Baker, aye. Bloom? Bloom, aye. Chavez? Chavez, aye. Irwin? Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer? Jones Sawyer, aye. Levine? Levine, aye. Linder? Linder, aye. Lowe? Lowe, aye. Olson? Olson, aye. Santiago? Weber? Weber, aye. Williams? Williams, aye.
12-0 on consent. We have some items to run through to add on members. If clerk can go one at a time.
Item 1, AB 1690. Jones Sawyer. Jones Sawyer, aye. Linder. Oh, I'm sorry. You voted no. Santiago. Not here.
Yes, let's see. Do we need to have anybody else? I think that was it. Mr. Santiago is
9-0.
on 9-0. 9. Can you check that again? We might have 9-2.
I'm sorry, yeah. Low, I got you. Yes, so it's 9-2.
Ms. Irwin?
Yes.
Next item.
Item 2, AB 1781. Irwin. Irwin, I. Low. Low, I. Olson. Olson, I. Santiago. Santiago, I. 13-0. Item 3, AB 1835, Irwin. Irwin, I. Low. Low, I. Santiago.
Aye.
Santiago, I. It's 13-0. Item 4, AB 1936, Santiago. Santiago, I. It's 13-0. Yes, there's consent item. Item 5, AB 2581, Irwin. Irwin, I. Linder. Linder, I. Low. Low, I. $11-0. And item 1, AB 1690, Santiago. Santiago, I. It's 10-2.